On this day in history, 600 activists are attacked by police on the Edmund Pettus Bridge outside of Selma, Alabama. The event would ripple throughout the world and result in the passing of the Voting Rights Act. On March 7, 1965, the event many would call Bloody Sunday occurred. Selma was a hotbed of voter suppression. Although black people made up 57% of the population, less than 1%, 130 people, were registered to vote. How was this possible? Through voter suppression, poll taxes, literacy tests, intimidation, and violence. Local activists tried to register people to vote, but were blocked by local officials and the KKK. So the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the SCLC joined the fight. The protest came to a head when Jimmy Lee Jackson, an activist, was murdered by a Selma police officer. The people decided to march 54 miles from Selma to Montgomery to talk to Governor George Wallace about Jackson's death and voter suppression. On March 7th, 600 protesters led by John Lewis and Hosea Williams started the march to Montgomery. Everything was going according to plan until they reached the Edmund Pettus Bridge. Turns out the sheriff had put a call out for all white men over the age of 21 and had them deputized on the spot. So all these new police officers and the old guard met the protesters at the bridge. They told them to turn back around. The protesters refused. The police officers then began to beat the protesters, shoving and beating them with their nightsticks. Others threw tear gas. Officers on horseback charged the crowd. Over 50 people were injured with fractured skulls, limbs, and gas poisoning. Brutal images of the attack would spread throughout the world, cultivating support for the campaign. Dr. King would return to Selma for 2 more marches, with the final one being successful. The Selma campaign is the reason we have the Voting Rights Act, which protects the rights of racial minorities. But surprise, surprise, voter suppression didn't end with the VRA. 6 million people in this country are not able to vote due to a prior criminal conviction. Voting rolls are being purged, and access to polling locations are limited in poor communities. Racial gerrymandering exists, and voter ID laws directly target black and brown people. Listen guys, I do these videos because I want you to learn history, but I also want you to take action. History isn't just a thing of the past, it's happening now. So we have to learn our history, or we're doomed to repeat it.